All right. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween. Um, Thank you all for joining. Just a reminder, there's a lot of people on this call. If you could keep your mics muted, that'd be fantastic. Um, this is our monthly Foreman safety meeting. It'll be pretty brief. We do have a lot to unpack here, so bear with me. There will be a lot of information put out in a very short amount of time, but it's good information. It's worthwhile here. So since our last meeting, unfortunately, we've had 7 incidents, and I'm not looking away. I'm just trying to read this here. We've had 3 slip, trips, and falls. One in which was stepping on a piece of threaded rod, getting out of the lift, and somebody fell and hurt themselves pretty bad. Be out of work for a little bit. Another one was slipping on a rubber roof. And anyone that's been up on a building's rooftop with a rubber roof in the morning, that dews across across the ground. It's pretty slippery. So we had one slip there, and then we had another one, another slip, trip, and fall, stepping on a furniture dolly, and just like a cartoon, slipping out from under. All avoidable. Just be aware of your surroundings and housekeeping. Keep things clean. Tell the guys to keep things out of their lifts, sweep them out at the end of their shifts, not leaving things in there for the next guy to trip on. We had one knee injury just from working in the crouching position for too long. Remind the guys to stretch and flex as needed. It doesn't have to just be a first thing in the morning thing. If they need to stretch a little bit here and there, not only allow it, but encourage that. We did have a falling object strike somebody in the eye. They were using a threaded rod cutter, kind of at an angle. Piece of threaded rod that they cut fell and hit them, cut their lip open. And then we did have another employee pinch their finger in between the Drago door and the lever to open the door. So those were 6 of the injuries. We had a pretty serious one yesterday. We had an employee working on a exit sign circuit, reworking them, relocating them anyways. The circuit was locked out. The correct breaker was locked out. Unfortunately, they never tested to confirm that it was in a zero energy state. And the system was backed up by inverters downstream or upstream of that to backfeed it for the emergency system. That employee ended up grabbing the bare wires in a whip up in the ceiling, and he got hung up on it. 277, ended up falling off his ladder after the fact and landing on his back. Luckily, he was only a couple rungs up. Received a pretty good shock there, and a pretty good fall. Was treated in the hospital, and for cases like this, OSHA does get involved. So the big 2 takeaways here, huge takeaways, are identify secondary sources of power, backups, whether it's UPSs, generators, in this case, inverters, which it's a first for me dealing with that, but always identify secondary sources via, one-line drawings, whatever you can to assess those. And then second takeaway here, the biggest one is test before you touch. Obviously, it wasn't done in this instance. It was MC cable, so, it might have to be stripped back, or you might have to open a box to test it. Don't rely on a tick tracer anyways. A tick tracer doesn't work on the jacket outside of MC. I don't have to tell you guys that, but this was an apprentice. They, need to be reminded of things like this from time to time. They should be helped along the way here. So definitely remind everybody, please, if you can this week at your morning huddles, touch everything before you test. And, you lock something out, do it all properly. To do it correctly, you need to identify secondary sources, whether it's, like I said, UPSs and ATS back to a generator, battery banks of some sort, or in this case, a battery bank through an inverter. Just identify those sources if you can, and remind your journeymen and the apprentices to test everything no matter what. That's the big ticket item here. The other thing I wanted to remind guys too, one of these incidents was a employee using a threaded rod cutter, and that's his first time ever using it. He hasn't really been shown how to use it very well. We don't use them on every single job, but we have them available. Just remind guys to if they're using a tool they haven't been used before, take the time to show them. If you got to do a quick demonstration with them, actually grab a piece of threaded rod and cut it right in front of them. It's fantastic. It's encouraged. Grab that tool and show them how to use it. If you want to use videos, we have a million videos on our YouTube page, or you can find them on other YouTube pages of how to use the tool safely. You can rely on the manufacturer's recommendations of how to use the tool properly, or we can type up a toolbox talk and make it a thing. We can even call the sales reps to come out and do a demonstration as well on site. So if you have guys using tools that are new to you, new to them, new to anybody, take the time to get them familiar with it, so we don't keep running into injuries with tools and people saying, I didn't really know how to use it. That's on us. You know, we should have trained them properly and show them how to use it. They can't just run to a game box, grab something and figure it out, you know? So just keep that in mind. Our next meeting next month is scheduled for Thanksgiving Day, so that'll change. We'll either bump it a week ahead, a couple days ahead. So we'll send out a reminder for when that one is changed. Please, everyone, this week, I'm requesting that you talk to your crews, and just a huge reminder this week. The big takeaway is test before you touch and identify secondary sources of power. That's really all I have. Those are pretty serious things. If anyone wants to discuss them more in depth or needs material for training their employees, reach out to me. We have a lot of toolbox talks we can use. We have a lot of material we can use for training. Sean Lee, he has a lot of good videos up on YouTube for tools too that are straight to the point. They're not long-winded. They're very informative and short videos that are great for training. They don't get lost in the sauce and pump out too much information. So highly recommend using those. And if you need any additional information, just reach out to me. But that is all I have, unless Sean or Brian, anybody have anything else? And
I'm good. Thank you, Jason.
all right, great. All right, thank you guys for joining one. And this is recorded, so if any of the other foremen missed the meeting, it'll be sent out in an email or it'll be on our YouTube page. Thank you guys for joining. Have a good day and have a good Halloween. Thank you.